Had a thunderstorm last night. Broke my tree. I'd left it standing. It's been dead for a long time. But the dead trees with the loose bark and everything is good habitat for bats and woodpeckers and stuff. So I left it standing for that reason, but that's all she wrote. Oh, look at it. There's a piece of it way over there. All right, so I found I bought some manuals for that dozer, and so I got some more information on that. I'm gonna go back and work on that here in just a little bit, look at it some more. So I'll show you that. But first, is I've had some problems out here with people stealing from me and trespassing and stuff. So got these cool wireless or cellular game cameras. I'm gonna hang it up real quick. Over here watching my little pad area here where all my stuff's parked. Keep an eye on all this for me. So get that hung up real quick, and at least I'll have it on camera if somebody does come over here and mess with my stuff. So got that, and then one other little detour real quick. I'll go back to that dozer and check it out a little bit more. Right, right up there in that tree. I fired up the backhoe and put it up there pretty tall. That way somebody can't just easily walk up and steal it. Make those cable locks that you can put on there too. I may get one, but all this stuff's 40% off right now at Atwood's for Christmas, which is pretty cool. So anyway, that's done. The next thing I need to work on real quick, I'll have the backhoe running just to warm up, is this. Hopefully I got the right ones. Yeah. So see the spark plug wires on my welder here. This one's, broke. Been causing me problems. So got some new ones. Just simple. Got it off of eBay, I think. It's just two of them. They sell a couple different kits. One of them came with two of these longer wires, which looks like is what was on it. This one has a shorter one and then a longer one on the other side. So, which is what it needs. That one's going to be a little bit trickier to get to. It may take me just a minute here. Not right, it's not running quite right, but sounds like it might only be running on one cylinder. Did this to me a while back, and eventually it caught and started working, so. There she goes. That's better. Gotta remember to get out here and start this every once in a while. It seems to run a lot better. I'll just run it about once a month or so. Alright, back to the dozer. Back to the dozer. So I'm all over here to go mess with that dozer a little bit and check this out. We got 3.5 inches of rain last night. Soggy. So it's filling the pond up pretty good. See, he's kind of some erosion over here. That'll get better as the pond gets full because it won't have to run as far, and my grass will fill in, which it's also looking pretty good. So pretty cool. This weekend cows will be moving in here, so they're going to tear this up a little bit, but hopefully we've got this grass started enough that it'll be all right. So all right, dozer. Maybe a mistake. Well, I made it. Hope I make it back out. Alrighty, so I've been trying to track down a new alternator for this dozer. It's proven to be more difficult than I expected, though. That's it, of course. I can't find one. I don't know. I thought it'd be real easy, but this is a 2-wire model. There's a wire that connects here and one that comes off here. I just ended up cutting that one. I've got some other problems with the wiring though. So let's see this, and that's, I just stuck it back on there so I wouldn't forget which wires went where, but that just pulled right off. So that's not ideal. If we come over here and look, it's not great. You can see the insulation on this bigger, fatter wire right here, which goes to this little solenoid, and kind of the same thing up here. Wiring's just not in great shape. So I need to figure a few things out. There's a 1-wire alternator that I think might work for this. But then if that's the case, I need to figure out what that other wire is supposed to do and how to mitigate just not having it. But I don't quite know yet. So got the meter out here. I'm going to figure that out, figure out what those wires are, where they go. And it's kind of a mess in there. I don't know how well you can tell, but it's going to be just kind of a pain. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and try to take the hood off there, pop that dude off of there, and then I can get to all the wires on the back of the instrument cluster there. I've got a few other problems though. If you look at this, I mean, that's obviously got broken wires. Obviously the wire's bare. Over here again, I don't know what this wire's for. Can't tell. I can't tell where it goes. So, well, there you go. It goes back here somewhere. I don't know. So there's a light on the back of the dozer here, which does not currently work. Right, hidden underneath all that crap. So maybe that's just the wiring for that light. I don't know. Either way, though, I need to get that figured out. And it may be a deal. You know, it's a pretty simple wiring harness. Basically, I just showed you all of it. It's, you know, this little thing of wires that goes back over this way, goes up here into the instrument cluster. All this bird's nest back here. Something comes back down and connects to this solenoid with this wire here. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of figure out what all these wires are, where they're supposed to go, and I can just do that by ohming them out. And once I have an idea of that, maybe I can find if there's any breaks in the wire. Obviously this is not ideal. You know, the alternator's out, and I tested it right at the alternator. It's not making enough voltage to charge the battery, but you know, why is the alternator out? And it could be related to something else in the wiring harness here. It may end up being easier at the end of the day just to kind of rebuild the whole thing, but I won't know that until I've kind of gone through it all and got that figured out. So anyway, I'm gonna pop the hood off here if I can. I think I can get it out around the exhaust and the limb risers right there. That's kind of a tricky spot, but I think I can fish it off of there. And yeah, anyway, I'm gonna investigate this a little bit. We'll see if I can't figure out what the wiring harness needs and what that sensor does and what that solenoid does and all that. So I'm gonna mess with that for a little bit. All right, here's something I didn't actually realize. This is the off position of the switch. Okay, that is just an auxiliary position. That is the run position. So yeah, I guess I just didn't realize that because I hadn't thought about it, but I was assuming that that was off, this was the auxiliary, and this was run. It's not though. So whenever it's in the off position, which it is now, this bottom wire right here, this one has continuity back to the battery, which makes sense because it is this wire right here, which is connected right here. It's this guy connected directly to positive battery terminal. Whenever you turn this switch to the run position, okay, then all of them are hot. Whenever you put it in the auxiliary position, then just this one and the bottom one are hot. So that tells me that this one is the supply, right? That's the hot supply that comes from the battery, which makes sense. You put it in the auxiliary position and that hits this wire, which runs down here to, I'm assuming this is just a resistor, to here, and then connects to directly to this wire right here, which is the wire that comes down here to the solenoid, that guy. It's there, still not sure what that solenoid's for. Wire that comes off the other side of the resistor right here, it comes up and hits this. And this is the pot for the switch that would turn the lights on and off. So you can see this wire here, this goes down back into this cluster and it splits off that way and it goes to the light that's on the back of the dozer. Presumably this one that's been cut off right here would have gone to the lights on the front of the dozer, which are no longer hooked up. So that's progress. This blue wire, I need to find it. It's not down here anywhere, so I don't know where this one goes. And this is the key itself, right? And then the start on this is actually the push button right there. It doesn't actually start off with the key here. This just turns it on. And it does have a switch like it would actually start it, but it doesn't. And I don't see how that would work. I don't know. I can investigate that a little bit more and see what's going on. Why that has like a switch, like a start function on the switch that's just not being used. And then the push button over there, I'm not quite sure. So presumably though, this would go probably to the push button over there, is what my guess is. I haven't got that far yet though. So a couple other things in here. This guy, this is the this goes to this thing right here. That is a pressure differential gauge to tell you if your air filter's clogged up. So it's looking at atmospheric pressure, I assume, and then the pressure on the manifold right here, right? So this is coming straight from the air filter. And that's where this guy's at. So this is not actually a wire, this is a tube. And you can see it's plugged in, not plugged in, but it's connected right there. And so that's your differential pressure gauge. Another thing that's kind of interesting, we have up in here, that is the water temp gauge. And you can tell this has been replaced by all this excess wire. And also the reason that was not working is because it's not hooked up to anything. So this needs I'm assuming a positive and negative. And maybe it doesn't matter. Don't know. But you can tell by looking at the back of that gauge, pretty sure somebody replaced this
and maybe just the gauge that they bought didn't, or maybe the original gauge didn't have a power to it. I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't hook that back up. But I mean, it's the same people that apparently cut this off. And then the other thing that's kind of frustrating is that, you know, you can see this has been cut off, but it's got paint on it. So that's not a factory connection, even though it's got the factory paint on it. I'll show you one other thing, which is how I know that this has happened. But see this gauge, or this data plate here. See all the pitting and stuff on it, and all the numbers are gone except for the 450 right there in the middle. This has been sandblasted, which means that at some point this entire dozer was sandblasted and repainted. So that's not too uncommon out in oil field industries and stuff like that. So at some point this was repainted, and it was repainted after the lights were hard deleted, and who knows what else at that point. So somebody tried to fix that gauge and they just didn't hook it up. So this would be easy enough to just find a hot and a ground somewhere. You know, I mean, there's ground like right here, right? And then just find a hot to hook that up to, and that gauge should actually work again, assuming that the sensor that it's connected to is still good. So, all right. I still need to figure out what these bare wires are here. I suspect it's got to go. It's got to go back to that light. Or to the push button start. It could be that as well. So I can't really tell. Yeah, this is just kind of a mess. So I can't really tell how many wires are supposed to actually be in here. It splits off right there on the harness and comes to over here where this is all rat chewed. Yeah, it's got to be. Okay. And then here, look. See that? That's that blue wire that I was looking for just a second ago. And yeah, that connects to, okay, so I was right about that. That connects to the push button right there. So that's that blue wire that comes off the ignition switch. That just feeds power to this button, which is what at some point must feed back to starter solenoid. So, all right, progress. Just wanted to talk about all that before I forgot what I was looking at. Alrighty, so I still have not been able to track down an alternator. I've got the part numbers now because I downloaded the manuals. 80 bucks, got all three, the owner's manual, service manual, and a parts manual, which happens to come with a wiring diagram for all of this. So I was right about the blue wire and everything going back that way for the push button start. Now this thing, I thought this was maybe some sort of a sensor. It makes a lot more sense now what it actually is though, with this big heavy wire on it. This is a air heater, an intake heater. I got to reading on some forums, and there's some guys that say that they recommend just getting rid of these because there's ceramic in there and they can fall apart and get sucked up into the engine and trash a perfectly good engine, and they don't really do anything. So we're going to do that. I'll pull the wires on it right now. I don't have a plug to replace this with yet, so I'll have to get one. But that was the recommendation that I saw, was just delete them. So anyway, so that means that when I go to rebuild, I'm going to rebuild this entire wiring harness. It's super simple. I forgot the paper I'd show you, but I can delete this entirely, just get it out of the way. So that's what I'm going to do. And then we'll just start over because we'll fix all these spots where I got broken wires and stuff like that. So then at that point, I'll have all new wiring, new battery cable, new alternator, new starter. By God, this thing ought to work. So, and it works right now. It's just not very reliable, you know. It's a pain. And then I may go ahead and just replace these two hydraulic hoses and the two on the other side. You can see how bad they look. They're in pretty rough shape. So if we do that, then I ought to be out of stuff to fix on this, which would be nice. I made a connection the other day. It's a lady I've known for a while, actually. But what I didn't know is that she actually runs hair sheep. I knew she had cattle. I didn't know, though, that she ran hair sheep, like I've been wanting to get out here. So that's pretty cool. So that means I'm a little bit closer to, oh, don't have that one. You know, one step closer to having that connection to get them. One step closer to being able to have sheep out here. But if you guys remember on this, when I ran this new fence out here, I ran that kind of a field fence, and that's what you need for sheep. Well, most of my pastures, the inside pastures, like the cross fencing, is all done with field fence, but the exterior, you know, the more important ones are 5 or 6 strand barbed wire, which won't hold sheep. So I need to get field fence put up on them, but I need this guy running really reliably because I got to do a bunch of bulldozer work to be able to do that. So, okay, well, that's all I can do right now for today. Let's disconnect that. I guess I could, yeah, I'll mess with the rest of that later. Well, no, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna get the tools. No matter. All right, deleted. All right, so I have to come back at some point though, pull this out, replace it with a plug, and then that will be done. And then I'll get a whole bunch of wire, and yeah, we'll just pull all new wire on this dude. So it should be pretty easy. And this, I hook that back up, I'll be replacing it anyway, but I don't forget where it goes. So, alrighty. Well, I think that's where I'm gonna leave you guys for this week. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Hopefully next week we'll be putting on new alternator on the Dozer. Hopefully I can find one. So, see you then.